Let's let it go there. Okay, all right. So I told you these are three way, right? So example, we take most of the time we will use SDFS client. So when we use SDFS client, okay, so it's going to be a kind of Linux commands. Uh, so example, I use this command, okay. Uh, okay, so I'm going to so this is my going to be is SDFS command. So what is the command is SDFS, or you can use Hadoop as well, like Hadoop version. You can use Hadoop command. Now Hadoop version 2 basically SDFS has come. SDFS, DFS, and you can use a command called hyphen put. Okay, so put is basically copying your file from your local Linux file system to SDFS. So your source will be say example home slash like par is the user folder, and then followed by sample.txt, sample.txt, right? Okay, then I just for now I'll just give target as just a slash. A slash means basically it's a root folder in the SDFS. Okay, for now I'll just give because I did not tell you how to create a folder. So folder is almost same hyphen instead of mkdir, same mkdir folder, but we'll just use SDFS DFS hyphen mkdir. Then you can give the directory so that the directory will be created in the SDFS. So now we'll just say we are going to place this sample.txt in the SDFS root directory. Okay. So when you invoke this command, right? This is the command line. If you invoke, so this is the SDFS client. So command line, the SDFS client will talk to the name node. Okay. So basically the request goes to name node. Okay. It will ask, I want to store this file sample.txt in the root directory of SDFS. Okay, so so SDFS the name node actually. So what happens is when you create a cluster, so this is going to be in the same network, right? So so when you create a when you configure a name node in the master nodes, master machines, and the slave nodes in the slave machine, these data nodes, right? These data nodes will start registering themselves to the name node, saying that okay, I am one of the name node in this cluster. I have these other resource. Basically, it will tell what is the disk space. Okay, it will tell to the name node. Similarly, all the data node will keep registering to the name node, so that the name node will have well-defined, or maybe the information about the cluster, which are the nodes is live, and what are the disk space available on these data nodes. So no, so it has this information, right? That 1 minute, I'll just save this file. It is already there here. Good. Uh, so it will have the information. So name, what name node does. So based on the uh, can you hear me, right? Everybody hear me, right? Hello. Hello, can you hear me,
Yes,
everyone?
Pari.
Okay. So suppose if something is just if suppose something,
I can hear you.
if internet is
Clear
goes down
audio.
or something, I'm disconnected. Just ping me in the WhatsApp, okay, so that I will know. Okay. So the name node.
Pare, there is a breakage in your voice.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Let me check my internet. Okay. So all right, I'm using a mobile internet. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Pari.
Okay, now it should be fine. I'm using a broadband now. It should be fine. Okay, so the request has come to the name node. So the name node will, based on the name node knows what is the block size of the block, what is the default block size. So it will actually allocate, it will actually get the number of blocks, how many blocks this file is going to happen. And it will return the, basically the information, okay, to the SDFS client. Okay, so in this case, the CLI, command line interface. Okay, so what information it is going to give is, basically it will give you the information about number of blocks, and then what are the the IP address of the nodes where it has to store. Okay, so so basically with the replication, right? So I told you about yesterday about replication. Basically, what this replication is nothing but, see, when you store data in SDFS, it is going to store your data in a redundant manner. Means the same copy of the file will be the copy of file will be having it in another place in SDFS. Means you will have a duplicate copy. Okay, so that you can configure. So basically, there is a factor, there is a property called replication factor. By default, it is 3. Okay, so if in this example we have a file which has 2 blocks, so ideally it has to store B1, B2, but it will store B1 thrice. Like in this slave node 1, block 1 will be there. The same B1 block will be stored in other 2 machine, so that to just give you the fault tolerance. So if something is fail happens on particular node, so that it can read from the other machines. So so those information the name node will give to the SDFS client. Okay, number of blocks, in which IP address the block has to store. Basically, the replication blocks also, the duplication of blocks also, where it has to store. Okay, now the SDFS clients, it will start writing the blocks. So the blocks will write in parallel. Okay, means I have a 2 blocks, right? B1, B2. So it knows where which nodes it has to write. So it will start the SDFS client will start writing into the respective data nodes. I apologize for these controls. Okay, so B1 will be written here, and then 1 copy of B2 will be written here, and similarly. Okay, so we will just. Okay, so B1, this is for B1. And this is for B2. Okay, so the B1 node is written as slave node 1, and B2 is written in slave node 3. Okay, so these two will happen in parallel. Okay, so now it has also has to write the replication blocks, right? So what happens is this data node will instruct the other data nodes. Okay, so basically I have to copy other copy of files, other copy of blocks to your node. Okay, so just be ready like that. Okay, so once this is completed, the first copy of B1 is completed, this slave node will write the another copy of B1 into slave node 2 and 3. So basically the blocks will write in parallel. The copy, the replication blocks will write in sequential. So that is a way they designed it. Okay, so this is how the name node, the data write will happen in SDFS. So it will talk to name node, get the block information and the address where it has to write, and replication details. And this data, sorry, the SDFS client will start writing your blocks in parallel, and the copies will be written in the sequential manner. Okay, so this is how it works. So this is about the SDFS, the file write mechanism. So file read mechanism. So example, I run another command. Okay. Okay. So there is a if you want to get your files from SDFS, so SDFS DFS, hyphen get, okay, and you can give the location, okay, the SDFS location. Your source will be SDFS, right? So I kept it in the root same file. I'll just try to read slash. It is in root directory. The file name is sample.txt, and maybe I want to store it in same home slash pari slash maybe data folder. Okay, there is a in home directory. I have a folder called data. I want to store it in there. Now what will happen? Now similarly, this is the HDFS client request. It goes to name node. Okay, so the name node asks uh, as the information about where the data is, because it is the one which actually generated the metadata. So it will have the metadata. It will give the information to the SDFS client. Okay, these are the blocks stored on this machine. You just go and read it. Okay, then SDFS client start reading a block. So it will just read the block one from this machine and B2 from this machine, and just merge the data and give it to the client. Okay, so okay, so that's how the SDFS read will happen. Okay, so so just about the blocks. Okay, the block B1 is stored here, right? The fundamental concept is same block will not be stored in the same node unless that's actually idea. So because we want to have the failure mechanism, so generally you will not store the same blocks on the same machine. So then basically you just go with replication factor 1, so you will not have any copy. But in multi-node cluster, like where you will have more than 3 machines, so all your blocks will not be stored in the same machine. It will be stored in different machines. So that is one point. And there is something called rack awareness. We'll actually study in later. So basically, set of nodes will be kept in a rack. Okay, if you just know about the server data centers, okay, all your servers mostly they will be in rack. Set of servers will be in rack. So how the when you design when you actually build a cluster, how you have to set your nodes in the rack that there are some set of standards which needs to be followed. Okay, so mostly that will be taken care with the Hadoop administration. But when we go to the other concepts in HDFS, I will tell you. Okay. Until this, do you have any question? So like SDFS, writing a file into SDFS, reading in a file from SDFS. Do you have any question?
No, Pari. And do we have any like cheat sheet kind of thing so that we
Yes,
can?
yes.
Yeah.
There are many. I will share. Okay. So what we are
Okay.
going to, yeah, I will share it. No problem. Anyone has any other question?
No, Pari.
Okay, all right. So I will show my the VM. Okay, so where I'm going to share this VM to you all. Okay, so it is going to be a 9, I think close to 9 or 10 GB of the file size. Okay, so that is. Okay, so I'm going to give you this this data making VM. Okay, so basically I will be giving a .ova file. Okay, so the extension is the .ova file. Okay, so I'll just give you how to set up that OVA file. Okay, so basically you have to just you have to install the Oracle VirtualBox. There's a Oracle VirtualBox is the virtualization software. Okay, it's an open source only. You can just Google in the probably some of you might know it already. You can just Google and go to this website virtualbox.org. You can just download. Okay, I hope everybody using Windows machine, right?
Yes, Pari.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you can install this software. It's going to be a simple click next and next. Once you install, once you open it, this is will be your UI. You just go file before going to this, and you just download. I will give you one Google Drive link. If you download a file, so it will come with datamaking.vm.ova. That file will be zipped in a .zip file. You can just extract it and then go to the import appliance, and you just choose that file. Okay, .ova file. Okay, wherever is there, it just choose that file. So basically, it will open. It will actually detect .ova file and OVF file. I will give you the OVF file. So once you open it, and you'll just have to say import, and just have to give based on your system configuration. So if you see here, I set my RAM for this virtual machine is 10 GB. Okay, my host machine, this machine laptop memory RAM size is 16 GB. So I just allocate 10 for it. So you might have same or maybe less. So you can just, while importing, you can change the RAM size. Okay, I will give you one set of videos how to just import it, and you can configure it. I have the set of videos. You can follow that. Even if you have any doubt, I can just come online and I can help you to set up. I don't have any problem. Once you imported, so it will be like this. You just have to click start. Okay, so it is going to start this virtual machine. So in this virtual machine, I installed Ubuntu 18.04. Okay, so most of your Hadoop system or the big data system, like being Hadoop or Spark, all are will be in production. Also, will be using Linux machine. Mostly, we use all your big data system in Linux machine, and the operating system. The flavor of Linux may differ. Okay, for practice purpose, we'll use Ubuntu. But if you go to production, so mostly it will be Red Hat or mostly Red Hat. Some people who can't afford license of Red Hat, they'll go for CentOS. Okay, but Linux is almost same, because Ubuntu being having a Ubuntu and CentOS as a GUI. So initially for learning purpose, we use these softwares. So
for Mac also same.
Sorry.
Uh,
Mac also, you just install the Mac version of you will have it supports Mac also, I guess. I saw Mac is also, yeah, Mac. So VirtualBox you'll have for Mac also. You can just install, and once this comes, import it. Maybe I've not done it importing into Mac machine, but I've given to many people who are able to import it. If you face any issue, let me know. We'll just configure it. No issues.
okay,
Okay, so the default username is data making, all in small case. This is just username is showing, but username is data making, and the password also data making. So it's basically so username also data making, and the password also data making. Okay. Okay, so for a couple of days we will practice with this VM, and then we are going to take 2 session, or maybe 1 session, or maybe if you extends, we'll take 2 session to set up all this, so that you will get familiarized on these concepts. So first we'll just go with the already installed VM, and then we'll build by our own. Okay. Okay, so once you log in, you will get like this. So you can open the terminal. Okay, people who are already in the hands-on on a Linux machine, I don't need to tell much about on this. So ls command is basically listing your directories in this Linux file system. So I am on the home directory of data making user. Okay, so I have a folder called softwares. Okay, so I'll just, so all the softwares are kept here. Okay, and this has been extracted in the same location, and the same, this location has been used for installation location of all the respective softwares. So I have installed Hadoop version 3.2.1, and I've installed the Spark version 3.0.1, which both are the, I think Hadoop Spark version is latest one, and Hadoop version is maybe one or a minor version of this points, right? So I have also installed um, a component like Kafka, where we'll be using for small use cases, which is a messaging system, and a Scoop, which we talked about yesterday, import export tool, and Hive, which is a data warehousing capability tool. So all these are installed. Okay, so by default there is a command called JPS. If you type, so all your Java process which is running on this machine will be shown for you. So all our the daemons are process which I talked about. Say example, name node is a process, a Java process. The secondary name node also Java process. Data node also Java process. So these will be shown when you type a JPS if they are running. Okay, and when we come to MapReduce, I will tell other Java process, so you can verify. So by default, no process is running. Okay, I cannot, if I type SDFS dfs-ls and give the root directory. So it says it's not able to, the connection refuse because no process is running. So if name node is, so what are this command I'm issuing? Basically, I'm using a SDFS client, which is the CLI. So it is not able to connect to the name node. So it says connection refuse. So we need to start the name node as a SDFS related process, which is the name node, secondary name node, and data node. To start that, okay, so there is a command called start-dfs.sh. Okay, so I put this Hadoop installation directory as in the what is that environment variable, so that it can pick from anywhere. But if you don't set it, you need to go to that particular file location. Okay, so you have to go to bin, not bin, SPN. Okay, there is a file called where is that? Start DFS. So this file. So this file will start the SDFS related process, which is name node, secondary name node, data node. Okay. So so because I set it this Hadoop location in environment variable, so I can access these files from anywhere. So I'm just typing start-dfs-.sh. So it is starting the name node, and it is starting the data nodes. So this is a single node Hadoop cluster where all the processes are configured in the same node, both the master node as well as the slave node. So it is starting the secondary name node. I'll just JPS now. You see, apart from JPS process, there are other three processes which is running. These are all responsible for handling your SDFS read and write request. Okay, so till now, you have any question?
No, Pari, maybe.
Okay, all right, good. So I will open the browser. So I know, like if we want to look at the SDFS command, so I will just run that command which we ran previously. So I'll just run SDFS DFS, -ls and / which is a root directory. So I see there is a two directory in a root directory. One is tmp temp and another is a user directory. Okay, so this is one way to look your files or directories in HDFS. And Hadoop gives one more interface. Okay, the web interface for your name node. Okay, so I can go and type 86 something. Yeah, 9870, which is the name node web UI. Okay, so it says this is my name node at the RPC port. Okay, so all the process will be listening on particular port, right? So if you are connecting from if you are connecting name node from outside your cluster, so you need to use this port to connect to the HDFS to write or read a file. Okay, so this is a web UI for name node. So here there is a utility option where I can browse the HDFS file system using this browser. So I just go here. So see there is a two directories here. I can just navigate to this. I can see there is a inside user folder. There is a Hive folder, warehouse, and it has directory for others. All this basically it's for with respect to Hive component. I will not disturb this. So will be you can create a directory. So this is all earlier actually we just add a web UI like Hadoop 1 version and all, but we don't have this option of creating directory and all. The recent version of Hadoop they introduced creating directory from web UI itself. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll just create one file. There is a editor called Nano. Okay, you can use a text editor also. There is, if you go to this, you can type I think gedit, I guess, right? Yeah, this is a text editor like Notepad in Windows. Okay, I'll just type Hadoop HDFS MapReduce HDFS introduction and HDFS MapReduce. Okay, just type some free text and I'll save it on the home directory. Okay, I'll just give the file name as sample.txt and I'll just close this. Okay, I'll just come here. There's a file called txt. Say example, if you want to open it in a command line, you can use the Nano editor. You can use V editor also. Nano editor is more easy in this Ubuntu, but other CentOS and other system you will have V editor. Okay, so this file is there. Now let's try to copy this into HDFS -put, and then I'll just give the sample dot and put. This there's a typo, sorry. Okay, there is some warning, just ignore that. So if you go here, I see this file is placed here. Okay, I can just download the file and I can check, or I can just use the HDFS command. So whatever the file is there in local, I just remove. There is no file in the local, so use the HDFS -get, and what is the file name, which is the sample.txt, which is in the root directory. I'll store it in the same location where I am in. So it's fetched. So I can just do cat and see this. Okay. So this is how we need to work on SDFS. Right. So with this, I will actually close today's session. So we saw what is SDFS, what are the different processes in SDFS, and how this write operation, file write on SDFS and read on SDFS, and how it works. Do you have any questions?
No, Pari.
All right. So I will be sharing with the Google Drive link. You can actually download this VM, and you can actually import it in your machine. And I will also send you the cheat sheet for SDFS commands. You can start practicing it. And tomorrow we will see. I think Surendra want to discuss about what is our class timing on weekdays, right? Is it?
Yes, Pari.
Okay. Don't know whether call him or we'll discuss on the group chat. Is that fine?
Yeah, that's fine, Pari.
Somebody pinged here. I did not see the message. Okay, so we'll chat in the group. Like, weekdays. What time you are comfortable? Weekdays.
Any day in the evenings.
Okay, that is.
Evenings is your morning. So
Yeah, my morning. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we'll discuss in the group. Fine for me, but timing we'll discuss.
yeah, sure.
Thank you so much. I will share you this. Sorry, somebody is asking something.
No, Pari.
Okay, so one last question. The flow of the session is fast or slow? Is that okay for you, or you want to go same phase or a little faster?
I think we are okay.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
fine,
I'm
Pari.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye.
Nice. Have a good day. Good night.
Good evening. Bye.